This is a rant about this movie Antichrist, because I saw this movie a while ago when I was in Europe last year, and it's a pretty sick, depraved film. I'm pretty like I've never seen anything like it. I never want to see anything like it again. Like the only movie that even like gets close to this is Irresistible, which if you don't know what that is, look it up because it's pretty depraved too. But I would, you could stand this way more than this movie. But I'll start with like what the movie is. Okay, like it's basically there's a couple, and you never know their names. They're called he and she. And it's supposed to just be that generalization because it's like there's a big metaphor. There's a big metaphorical sense to it, but I won't talk about that because I would like be talking about this for like 30 minutes. But okay, so anyway, they're having sex in a shower. I think if I remember the movie correctly, it was a year ago when I saw this, and they have a baby and it's in a crib and it's sleeping. But while these two people are fucking, the baby climbs out of the crib and falls out a window, and you see the baby like hit the pavement. And I'm gonna say it's like it's pretty depraved, and that part right there is just like pretty depraved and pretty sick. And yeah, people. There was a few people that walked out of the theater like right at that scene. So, and but I didn't because I've seen some art films and usually they have like this one or two like really shocking scenes, and I thought that was pretty shocking seeing like the way they did that because they showed it very provocatively and clearly. So I was just like, oh, the rest of the movie's probably gonna be a little bit more less graphic, but it wasn't for like the next hour because I think if I remember correctly, this is a pretty long movie. I think it was about 2 hours. If not, it felt like 2 hours. And so I think for like the next hour of the movie, it really wasn't that. It's graphic still, but not like the baby scene at the beginning. And this is split into like it's set up like a book. I think there's 4 chapters. I know the first 3 chapters are the stages of grief, which the first one's grief, the second one's pain, the third one's despair, and you don't want to get despair. You do not want to get despair because to be honest, I don't remember a lot that happened in the other ones. The only thing that I remember very clearly in my mind is the it scene, which is what a lot of people have been calling it, the it scene, which it really isn't it. I have never seen anything like it in a film before, and like I said, I never want to again in my life. I can live, like, to be honest, I would, like, this is, like, if I remember correctly, it's about a 15-minute scene, and I would rather watch two girls in one cup for, like, 2 hours than have to watch that scene again for 15 minutes. Because it is just so deprived and disgusting, and it really ruins the movie because, to be completely honest, till up to that point, it was a pretty good art film as far as art films go. Because art films have a very, they tend to be not, they're not very, for one thing, you need really good actors for an art film because art films are, a lot of it has to do with body language instead of like the words, and if the words are said, there's usually not much dialogue in these kind of films. Usually the scenery and the visuals are usually very metaphorical, and they are in this film. But again, it's very overshadowed by the last, I think, 30 minutes. It's very overshadowed by like the last 30 minutes. 30 minutes or 45 minutes, something like that. It's very overshadowed by it. And I'm not gonna tell you what happens in the it scene. If you're really that interested, don't see the movie. Just like look it up on Wikipedia because they have like the whole plot like laid out for you. And trust me, that's a lot better alternative. You'll probably still feel really sick to your stomach after you read it because it's just like that graphic and disgusting. Like there is even a meme to that scene, but in all honesty, this scene could have been like 2 minutes. Like I honestly think the director just like made this scene like this long just so you could like just so like he could have like the whole like movie theater just like empty and like having people like ask for their money back because that's like how disgusting and deprived like you don't see it coming like there is graphic stuff throughout this film but they mostly have to do with animals and it's mostly like it doesn't get much worse than like a regular old fashioned American horror film to be honest. But then the last scene comes on, and you're just oh my god. Like there was actually like and I'm not even kidding like probably like 7 people like threw up like in the movie theater while I was at it and left because it was just so deprived and disgusting, and it really wasn't necessary for the film. Like the film did have a good direction up till that point. Like, like to be honest, I don't know how they could have done the movie without that scene, but they could have made it a lot less shorter. And also after the it scene's over, not a lot of people mention this, but like about I think about like 20 minutes later there's another it scene that kind of correlates with this one. It's the same kind of metaphorical junk, but it's again like it was very unnecessary. Like it was already over, and then you have to like kind of relive it again. It's a lot. Thank God it's actually a lot shorter, but it's still disgusting. And like I really can't think of anybody who would actually want to see this movie. Like, I'm actually shocked that people actually find this movie good. Like, there are, like, the visuals and stuff are impressive in this movie, but it's just such a sick and depraved film. There's a point, there's like a point when it's just, like, too depraved. Like, some people praise depraved movies, and sometimes I do. Like Irresistible is I mentioned that earlier. It's a very 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 depraved movie, but it is like in what it represents and what it says. It is like a beautiful film, but this film kind of like ruins its own like kind of fucks up like its own like beauty and meaning with like the it scene. Like the it scene completely ruins it. So that's all I want to say. Don't see this movie. Oh my God, parents! Do not let your kids see this movie. This is not like unrated America. This is like I can't even think of a movie that's even close to this. This would be like bringing like taking somebody to this movie would be like bringing like bringing like a 5-year-old to like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something, but like 10 times worse because that child will probably like end up being like some kind of drug addict or serial killer if he sees like it's in this movie. Like he will be emotionally scarred. That's it. Please like help this movie get banned or something. I don't know because this movie's like really fucked up.